Good afternoon, Dr. Omer and students. My name is Wang Ziyan. Today, my speech topic is Explain with examples simplification as one of strategies used by second language learners to create interlanguage. And the content of the speech is as follows. 1. Simplified interlanguage. 2. Strategies for simple interlanguage simplification and generalization. 3. The second language learners' communication in interlanguage may continue for some time. 4. Interlanguage is a dynamic process. 5. Interlanguage simplification is a result of learners using various communicative strategies. Abstract. These people mainly discuss the concept of simplification in interlanguage from the perspective of second language learners. They use language simplification strategies to create interlanguage in an attempt to facilitate second language learning and communication. Learners' simplified use of the second language may result in the omission, insertion, substitution, or misauthoring of language components. Due to cognitive limitations of the use varied learning and communication strategies. Simplified interlanguage. Simplifying or reducing the language by removing some interlanguage elements is only one of strategies of second language learners. This is a result of choosing the greatest amount of learning or communication among the limited available forms or rules. For example, some people might not use the present auxiliary verb is or are in text message or telegram for simplicity. Native English-speaking children may also omit verb due to cognitive immaturity, while second or foreign language learners may make the same mistake due to the influence of the first language. Of course, learners will omit elements when acquiring a second language, and they will do so because they have limited cognitive abilities to notice and produce subtle linguistic details. Language learners use simplified strategies to create interlanguage in order to simplify the learning tasks, not to reduce the target language to simpler system, but to replace difficult syntactic and lexical forms with other forms or proportionate to their level of ability. Strategies for simply interlanguage, simplification and generalization. They attribute the deletion of articles, auxiliary verbs, preposition, and personal pronouns to simplification. Then generalization can be viewed as a concrete instance of simplification, because it also implies a narrowing of the range of possible structures. However, due to the deletion of the above elements, articles, auxiliary verbs, probably due to the generalization of features of their native language. Interlingual transfer can be seen as a strategy that leads to language simplification. Slinga characterizes the error made by English native French learners as language transfer, overgeneralization, and simplification. According to them, using one form for all tenses is an example of simplification. Language learners therefore rely on their first language and words they know from the target language to simplify learning and communication tasks. Thus, language simplification, such as the omission of certain elements, is one of the many surface manifestations of the second language learners' strategies for creating interlanguage. The second language learners' communication in interlanguage may continue for some time. Learners use reductive stress to express meaning when the interlingual system does not yet provide the necessary form to express meaning in a negative-like manner, when the learning language does not contain the extra vocabulary required. Learners can use a variety of communication to convey meaning, such as 1. The English word for electric wire, or they could use an approximate term, a pepper, describe its function, a kind of recorder of what you use to make electricity. I'm not exactly calling it, or describe what it looks like a wire with two plugs on each side. 2. A learner who wants to say, I saw a bad traffic accident yesterday, says, I saw an accident yesterday, and try to fill in the gaps with body language and voice imitation. And where's Uncle Anne? Why are you smiling? What are you going to do tomorrow? However, the omission of linking verbs may be due to the learner's cognitive immaturity and inability to grasp the minor details of speech, such as the abbreviations of is and are. Then another reason is given according to Richards. Similar ellipsis is observed in the interlanguage of second or foreign language learners with different native languages. Many simplified interlanguages are found to be similar due to the similarity between learners' unrelated native languages. For example, reduced information the learner's language means cannot reach his communication goal. In this case, the learners will choose to simplify the interlanguage. Sometimes the form and partners of language using such as attempts, if they prove successful in communication with the interlocutor, may persist for some time in traditional speech. Interlanguage is a dynamic process. It's a system constructed by learners themselves, which is different from mother tongue and target language. Interlanguage usually occurs when learners are learning a second language, such as when Chinese are learning English. With a continuous improvement of English level, the interlanguage system will also change and gradually transition from the first language to the second language. For example, when Chinese people learn English, Chinglish will appear in the beginning, which is English usage that doesn't conform to English grammar. It's called interlanguage. But as your English level improves, your interlanguage will become more and more close to English. That is more and more accurate. Interlanguage simplification is a result of learners using various communicative strategies. For adult learners of a second or foreign language, the problem of cognitive complexity is solved. They need to find linguistic form and structures for concepts they already know in their native language. The principle of making use of what is known is not limited to concepts. It also applies to covering of language forms from the first and second language to solve the problem of formal complexity. The cognitive maturity and linguistic creativity of second language learners are responsible for the use of various compulsory communicative strategies that lead to interlanguage characterized by omission, addition, substitution, and word order. For second language or foreign language learners, the omission of some language elements or simplification is one of the strategies used by second language learners to create interlanguage. Therefore, second or foreign language learners, like first language learners, use reduced language when trying to learn and communicate in the target language. What a learner actually simplifies is the task of learning and communicating in that language. Language learners use reduced interlanguage as a learning strategy in order to reduce the target language to a simpler system. That is to replace difficult syntactic and lexical forms with other forms appropriate to their ability level. To simplify or reduce the interlanguage by removing certain elements. Therefore, interlanguage simplification is a result of learners using various communicative strategies. Thank you for your listening. My speech is finished.